Max Verstappen is absolutely flying out there in Japan right now. FP1 topped the session by 6 tenths, and FP2 it was by 3 tenths. And of course, I think this is a track that suits Red Bull to a T. The track's characteristics suits their car with the medium and high speed corners. They do benefit when we go to those sort of circuits, and we're seeing it happen again here in Japan. The McLarens look very strong as well, all having the upgrades. In the case of Oscar Piastri and Norris is always performing to such a high level, really consistent. And Piastri, with those upgrades new this weekend, still trying to test them out to see if they do work better or not. Still a couple of tenths off Norris. Good thing from him to be that close to Lando Norris, as we know Lando Norris is such a top level performer. And the Ferraris are doing quite well. Charles Leclerc looks to be back on top onto his normal form. Of course, Science's masterclass in Singapore is something that's going to be hard to forget. And it was going to be interesting to see. And there's a lot of questions around Charles Leclerc coming into this Grand Prix, and coming from me as well, whether that Carlos Sainz should be the team leader. And Charles Leclerc needs to answer quite a few questions this weekend. And he started really well. Carlos Sainz beat Charles Leclerc in FP2, but Leclerc beat Carlos Sainz in FP1. So I do expect it to be fairly close between the two. Sainz is in his groove, in his rhythm at the moment, that he just seems really unstoppable. With obviously back-to-back poles at Monza and Singapore, and obviously the race victory at Singapore as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how Charles Leclerc can get on this weekend. I did mention that don't count Ferrari out. Did I not say that? Of course, the straights, there is quite a few straights in that Ferrari can take advantage of with their great power unit. And there's a few little corners like the chicane, the hairpin, that they can do fairly well out with their car being really good in those nimble type corners where you need to be good on the brakes and just really good on the acceleration. And there's a couple of those little corners that Ferrari can benefit from. Obviously in the high speed sections they may struggle a little bit, but they look fairly okay today. Mercedes looked to have struggled today as well, especially in the hands of Lewis, not just really being there with the confidence. George Russell is looking to be the same George Russell every weekend, the quick, fast driver we always see. But Lewis just seems to be a little bit off, and he was a little bit off, George, wasn't he, in Singapore, although he did go and get the podium in the end. But Russell was, in general, quicker than Lewis the whole weekend, and it's the same pattern here. And it's very strange because you'd think that it's a sort of circuit that Lewis would go well at. Obviously having 5 race victories here before, 2 pole positions as well. So you would thought it'd be a track that he's very used to and that he enjoys as well. Last year, George Russell had a really great drive in the wets as well. So it's a track that he really thrives out as well. I thought that Russell's on a little bit of good form since coming back from the summer break, and I think he's really starting to kind of break through. I think Lewis had the better of him in the first half of the season, but Russell seemed to step up, and going to this practice session, he looks fairly strong. Alonso also doing fairly well. Aston Martin, I feel, have dropped off quite a lot from the start of the season. I don't know if they've gone into the wrong direction in terms of development, but of course Alonso is always there or thereabouts in these sessions and just doing enough what he needs to do. Stroll is always just way off his teammate, and it's nice to see him back after that accident in Singapore qualifying. But Aston Martin looking to be the kind of 5th fastest car this weekend, in the hands of Alonso at least. Gasly having that crash at the end of FP2 as well. Not the greatest of things for him to do. He's raced there quite a lot in his career, thinking back to his junior days as well. And obviously the crash here, and it's a circuit that I think Alpine do generally go well around. Last year Ocon picking up a P4, qualifying really well. So it's a day to forget for Alpine, especially the fact that it was right at the end of the session as well. The mechanics are thinking, yep, job's done, we can move on to tomorrow, and then they've got to go and fix that car ready for tomorrow, which can be really frustrating. It's been a long old season, and that's probably the least thing you do want in a season, to having to fix the car, and really kind of unnecessary. And it's a very kind of strange crash as well, because he kind of just locked up into the corner. A load of cars were struggling in that turn 9, just going over that curve, and Albon, Hamilton a couple of times as well, Zhou. I think Albon even went on the radio saying, check the damage, there's definitely damage on the floor. because there's quite a little bit of a step off that curb as well, so it can be quite dangerous. Yeah, in general, cars do seem to struggle there. Of course, it's a heavy braking zone into that corner, but it's also really quick as well. But yes, it's a very difficult corner, but you still need to maximize the corners as much as possible, getting onto those curbs that can be really quite damaging, and they're fairly quite rough and hard to go run over. But of course, Gasly goes straight into the barrier, and it looked quite a light one, but it did quite a lot of damage as well. So that was a really strange one from Pierre Gasly. But I think this weekend is going to be really important. I think we're kind of understanding some important things here. Mercedes, of course, unpredictable, especially in the hands of Lewis this weekend. I'm sure Lewis will be closer to George come qualifying, as he should. The car being a bit unpredictable. I thought that the car would go well with it being a smoother surface as well, and the car genuinely being good in the high speed sort of tracks as well, and at the proper race tracks as well. So it's kind of strange. I think we're obviously seeing Ferrari kind of have a little bit of a comeback. I think you could probably argue they're probably the third, maybe even second fastest car on the grid. I think McLaren are probably certified second place, and everywhere we kind of go, McLaren are always there or thereabouts within the podium kind of spaces, and Verstappen is back at it again. Perez are way off Max Verstappen, which is quite a concern. Of course, this is a Max Verstappen circuit to a T, Red Bull circuit to a T, but you would expect Sergio Perez to be a lot closer to Verstappen than what he actually is. But there's not a lot more to kind of comment on Japan. I didn't actually watch any of the practice sessions. I've just kind of seen what we were saying, a couple of highlights bits and the interviews as well. So that's only what I can go off. So I'm sure I've missed something from what's happened in FP1 and FP2. But of course, I will be back tomorrow with a qualifying review as well, so I can't wait for that. That A1 is nice and early at 7 o'clock. But of course, it's only a short one. I just want to do a little run through, just give my little thoughts I've had, just seeing the results and things. What do you guys think of the practice session? Did I miss anything out that is quite important coming to this weekend? I am quite interested to hear all that. But I just want to say thank you very much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll see you next time. Thank you very much and peace.